It's hard to feel much of anything after finishing Mighty No. 9. What could have been a glorious and much-needed spiritual revival of the Blue Bomber is instead a poorly constructed imitation that lacks the spark of its inspiration. Even if you forget the legacy and take it on its own terms, it's still unable to generate much enthusiasm. That's not to say that there isn't any enjoyment to derive from the game, but even the most basic pleasures are compromised by a variety of issues. Something that Mighty No. 9 does get right is movement. With the press of a button, you dash forward. It's fast, simple, and feels good to do. You're given the right amount of control and precision, which is necessary in a platform action game like this. The game also recognizes efficient play, adding bonus points when you clear specific sections quickly. If only the stages themselves were more exciting. Most of them boil down to the typical water stage, fire stage, electric stage, and so on. There's nothing inherently wrong with this format, and it does follow the NES style that the game is going for, but Mighty No. 9 adds absolutely zero flourish. Nearly every stage feels generic thanks to a lifeless presentation. Backgrounds usually consist of indistinguishable metal walls. Many of the same enemies show up again and again. By the time you're finished, all of it runs together, and it's extremely difficult picking any moments that stand out. The blandness creeps into other areas as well. While it's true that good looks aren't the most critical element of a game, the visuals are so rough that they're actively distracting. The simple story is perhaps the worst offender. Character models lacking any sort of detail pantomime at each other and speak so slowly that it's hard to pay attention even if you're adamantly trying.
Professor! Back!
There are times when the game tries to distinguish itself, but these moments also end up disappointing for one reason or another. The highway stage requires players to jump from moving vehicle to moving vehicle, dodging flying robots along the way. On paper, it's a great idea for a stage, yet an inconsistent frame rate saps away much of the thrill. It doesn't help that there are plenty of moments when it's difficult to discern what exactly is happening on screen. Another stage, the Capitol building, forces you to track an elusive sniper who's constantly firing at you. Another great idea, but the whole thing goes on for too long, turning the hunt into tedium. Mechanically, Mighty No. 9 adheres very closely to the classic Mega Man blueprint, to the point where you absorb boss abilities and use them against enemies. Some of the abilities are pretty creative, such as the one where you essentially turn into a speedy bulldozer. Figuring out which boss is weak to which ability has the same sort of appeal that's found in the Mega Man games, but the advantages don't feel as dramatic. Later stages do a decent job of encouraging smart use of the various tools, easily making them the strongest in the game. The biggest element that differentiates Mighty No. 9 is being able to dash into weakened regular enemies, absorbing them, and earning a small temporary buff to either firepower, speed, or defense. In theory, it seems as though the mechanic is meant to promote active play, encouraging you to chain together powerful boosts. It's just that these boosts are so minor that they're barely noticeable. They also come so easily that there's really no thinking to be done. As a result, the whole system just sort of happens, making it rather forgettable. At least the mechanic fares a bit better during boss fights, where dashing at just the right time can interrupt an incoming attack. There is a fair amount of things to do outside of the main story. One is a challenge mode that you can play either alone or cooperatively online that tests you in various ways, such as demanding you reach a goal without being able to dash or attack. There's also a boss rush mode and an online race battle mode that we had difficulty finding other players for. While all of these modes make sense and could be valuable if done properly, they're too sterile and bare bones to hold our attention for long. The same general sentiment can be applied to the game as a whole. It's so pervasively dull. While other prominent throwbacks have recaptured the beating hearts of the games that inspired them, Mighty No. 9's familiar pieces are thrown together without a driving vision. Hopefully, the Super Fighting Robot's next successor is more worthy.